My name is Tu My Tran, and I am the head of Sustainable Mobility at ICLEI Local Governments for Sustainability. As you may have heard in previous lectures, low emission zones are most seen in European cities, where entrance into specific areas is typically tied to compliance with predetermined levels of the Eurotrack standard system. Some cities have stricter access regulations than others. While low emission zones differ across the globe, the premise remains the same, where vehicles that do not meet the prescribed emission standards are restricted in entering the zone. Most are targeted towards freight vehicles in urban areas. In this lecture, we will look more closely at measures imposed by East Asian cities in regulating freight vehicles' access to parts of their cities. Specifically, we will look at examples from Seoul in South Korea, Suzhou in China, and Taiyuan in Chinese Taipei. The first example we are highlighting is Seoul, the capital of South Korea. South Korea ranks as one of the largest trading countries and hosts the fifth biggest e-commerce industry globally. Logistics and freight have long played an integral role in leading the country's economic development, and even prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, and has been accelerated even further due to the global health crisis. Seoul, the nation's capital, is home of 50% of the country's population and responsible for 41% of the nation's logistics traffic. The growth and maturation of the urban logistics system in Seoul has brought benefit to the city. However, the industry's rapid expansion has also introduces the city to more environmental challenges, such as air pollution, GHG emission and noise pollution, as well as social challenges such as congestion, road accidents, and workers' welfare. Between 2010 and 2018, logistics emitted an average of 53,965 gigagrams CO2 emission equivalent annually, contributing to over 33% of Seoul's GHG emissions every year. In recent years, Seoul's metropolitan government has been proactive in moving towards a more sustainable logistics in announcing their Green New Deal in July 2020 and aligning with the National New Deal, where it commits to the efficient and eco-friendly transportation of goods and features the logistics sector as one of its 28 program areas. It also sets a specific target to reduce GHG emissions by 15%. Although there are many examples of successful policy implementations led by the Seoul Metropolitan Government, our focus will be on its low emission zones and green transportation zones. In 2017, Seoul Metropolitan Government banned low-grade vehicles, including freight vehicles, from driving in Seoul to control the impact of emissions and air pollution in the city. This applied to 400,000 vehicles registered nationally, 100,000 within Seoul. The low emission zone was further extended to adjacent local governments in 2018, which includes the Gyeonggi province and Incheon metropolitan city. Also, in 2018, the government introduced the emergency response to air pollution, which put a ban on polluted vehicles entering during heavy pollution days. The combination of these policies reduced grade 5 vehicles, which are mostly old diesel vehicles, by 19%. Additionally, Seoul designated the Seoul City Walls inner area as the Green Transportation Zone in March 2017 and built an ICT system restructuring road and limiting grade 5 vehicles operation in congested areas on weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. As a result, this effort reduced the number of grade 5 vehicles with a diesel particulate filter by 41.6% and the grade 5 vehicles without a filter by 68.9% compared to pre-implementation phase. Our next example is Suzhou in China. Suzhou is a prefecture-level tourist city in Yangzhou province, about 100 km northwest of Shanghai. It is one of the major central cities in the Yangtze River Delta and the national high-tech industrial base. Its prime location and innovative environment have attracted more businesses and high growth. Like Seoul, it is facing challenges with air pollution, congestion, and space scarcity for logistics vehicles. A handful of Chinese cities are known for its progressive policies in support of new energy vehicles, which include a mix of carrots and sticks measures in the form of subsidies and urban air entry regulations. Among them, Suzhou is one of the progressive cities in promoting new energy vehicles with its set of policies on preference of new energy vehicles. The city was the first Chinese city implementing policies specific to promoting green logistics. For instance, the Suzhou government issued a work plan for building Suzhou into a green logistic model city, introducing 24 measures to support green urban logistics in 2019. Suzhou was also the first city in the nation to establish a green logistics zone, which covers an area of 14.2 kilometers square from the ancient city to the middle ring. This zone prioritizes new energy vehicles in the right of way and provides more than 50 temporary parking lots for new energy logistics vehicles for loading and unloading. This priority access, along with the government subsidies, have resulted in the new energy vehicles growing by 5.3 times in logistics and representing 58.2% of new operating logistics vehicles. Our last example is Taiyuan, and specifically a business district of the city known as Daxi. Known as a cultural heritage site with many tourists, Daxi is a busy mixed-use district with many different needs. Daxi is home of a commercial and residential area, along with public space covering 30 hectares. The area high demand for goods from the retail shops and lack of loading, unloading, and parking space within this district are a big concern for both the shop owners and the delivery trucks and vans. During a stakeholders consultation, it was concluded that to avoid the tourist crowd, most of the goods delivered are in the afternoon, 63%, and morning, 33% during the weekdays. However, there is still a demand for weekend deliveries. In addition, residents often complain of poor air quality, congestion, and noise pollution. So you can imagine why the city chose this site as one of its priority areas as a living lab for implementing ecologistics practices. After multiple stakeholders engagements involving shop owners and logistics providers, the city government proposed a few solutions, which include a low-emission quiet zone and setting up a consolidation hub. This consolidation hub functions as a spot for truck drivers to drive the trucks to a transfer station to load the goods and then use low-carbon vehicles for the last mile delivery within the zone in order to reduce the impact of trucks on the surrounding traffic. The low-emission vehicles for transfer include electric scooters, electric three-wheeled cars, and autonomous robots called the Follow Me. This table shows a comparison of each of these vehicles in terms of typical use cases: capacity, and costs. The table also shows how many units of each vehicle is in use in DAXI. Through this demo site, DAXI hopes to see a reduction in carbon emissions, reduction in congestion, and improve on-the-road safety in these historical old streets.